anything to do with writing, I am on it. Love reading. Anything to do with books or reading or writing, I am all about it. There are more opportunities than ever before for people to read great content and for people to write great content online and offline. So, thank you for agreeing to do this interview.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity.
No problem. How did you hear about the blog?
We're in one of the same Facebook groups.
Okay.
I forget which one it is. And someone had asked a question about how can, they put their book out there or something. And you answered one of the questions about you can do podcasts, you can do, and you said you had a podcast.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, let me try.
Okay, awesome. That's great. I'm so glad that you took me up on the offer. I am always looking for people to interview. Okay.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you do?
What do I do? I am an author. I've written 3 books over the last 2 years. I'm also a life coach who specifically deals with relationships, and I'm also a speaker. And I've been actually doing this kind of work for 20 plus years. In different aspects of my life, mostly in ministry. And it's only in the last few years that I really began to turn it into a business. I do a lot of speaking for women's organizations. I do some ongoing things with an outpatient mental health facility. But I've always done things that pertain to women. That's what I'm really passionate about, working with women.
Why women? Just because you're a woman? Or what brings you specifically to work?
Well, mostly because I'm a woman, but I find myself in situations where women always seem to need the most help.
That's awesome.
It's just easier for me to connect with women. I have a sister who's 10 years younger than me, and so it wasn't like I grew up with, around women. I grew up more around men. So maybe there was always this desire in me to really connect with women. And I find myself connecting with a lot of women who have better relationships with men than they think they do with other women.
That's interesting.
Yes,
why is that?
It's very interesting.
What does that come from? Because I've heard of women who say, "Oh, I can't get along with other girls, but I'm the girl of the guys group. I can't get along with other women." What's that about?
I think that's because you have to really work at developing relationships with other women. I think it's something that starts with you developing yourself. And it's really why I wrote part of the reason why I wrote this book about releasing relationship baggage, because as women, we take on so much baggage that's not necessarily ours, and we don't know it until we start doing the work on ourselves. And so we'll look at other people and other women and say, well, I have an issue with her because of this, that, and the other, and really the person that we have the issue with is ourselves.
Right.
And so it's like taking that mirror and looking at yourself and seeing that's where the real issue is.
Now, what's an example of relationship baggage that you see a lot in your business, coaching business?
Well, I would say most of the baggage comes around our family patterns. For instance, in my book, I write about how in my family, because I'm a preacher's kid, we were always raised to give. But they never taught us about receiving. So, I overcompensated in giving, and then I would be frustrated in my relationships when I didn't receive. But I came to understand it was because I never went into relationships with an expectation of receiving something. It was like, well, I'm giving to you, so you should just give back to me.
Right.
And so understanding all relationships really start with our family patterns. And so you need to know the pattern of your family so you understand the DNA that's inside of you as it relates to relationships.
Now, how do you recognize a family pattern? Like, for example, there are certain ways that I relate to my mother and my family that now my boyfriend, who's coming to all the family dinners and things, says, oh, I see where that comes from. That is you, that's how so-and-so acts. But I can't see it. So how does one come to see and recognize their patterns?
I think it comes in different ways, just like you said. Your boyfriend showed it to you. So if you care enough about what he said to you, it will make you begin to look at, well, you know what, let me examine that. And sometimes it takes us going through several relationships, and we start realizing this is not the other person, it's me. So let me kind of backtrack and see, that's how my mother handled it. Oh, that's how my grandmother handled it. And it's very easy for us to pick up on patterns in the terms of how we walk it out in our lives, but it's very hard for us to see it as a pattern. We just think that's the way that we are.
Right. Or that's the way the world should work. In our family.
But here's the thing. If we lump ourselves into if we lump ourselves into that's the way the world works, then it doesn't individualize our relationships. So it's not until you're really ready to look at yourself that I think you can come to the place of developing a healthy relationship, whether it be with a parent, a spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, your children. All of that requires us really taking a look at ourselves and understanding ourselves and how we relate.
Wonderful. So is that the subject of your 3 books? You said you did 3 books in the last 2 years. Each one, I read the description of each one, and you mentioned the motivation of each one of your books. So what's the motivation behind this latest one that you've written?
Well, the motivation behind this book is from a series called Simply Carla, and it includes my book, Emotions of the Mind. It started with Emotions of the Mind. I currently went through a divorce. So that divorce made me look at myself. And the first place I had to deal with was my emotions. And so in being able to sort out my emotional state, I then began to look at, okay, it's the relationship. It's some stuff that I've picked up. I don't know where, but I know I've picked up something and I need to look at me. And so I think when sometimes something that's very tragic or very life-changing happens, it will make us look at ourselves. If we want to better, I want to be able to help me. I have been coaching other people. Helping others. But this was a time where, you know what, I need to look at me. I need to connect with people who can help me to heal now. And so as a part of my healing process, so I had to look at certain things that I did. Where did that come from? Why did I think a certain way? Why did I believe a certain way? And so rooted in my subconscious were some of these behaviors that I acted out sometimes unknowingly. So you have to take ownership of your own stuff. It's very easy to it would be very easy for me to say, well, it was his fault. It was me. What do I need to do so that I'm better? Not even for the next person or the next thing, but for me.
Right.
And that's where these came from.
So do you find that a lot of people come to you because they're in crisis, like a situation of divorce or something, life-changing has happened?
I think a lot of people do come to me for that reason because when I look at my life, the part of my life has been helping people build strong foundations. I'm the one that will go in and do the work that most people are going to shy away from because it's dirty, it's not, it's not pretty, it's tearing down systems and building something different. It's starting where there's been darkness or there's, no light, and you have to dig through and try to find that place. That's what I do. I'm good at that, and I actually love it, but I realize that I can only do it if I'm healthy, because if I'm not healthy in my personal life, I hit a plateau. And so that's where I know, look, I need to do more personal growth, more professional growth, more spiritual growth. And so you have to know those things about yourself.
So do you advocate for maintenance? So even if something is not life-changing, is not happening to you, regularly go to a life coach, or what should people do to make sure that they're their best selves all the time?
I think you need coaches, you need mentors, you need people that you have healthy relationships with, you need engagement in your life. You need family members who care about you. You need support systems in whatever form they come in. I do work with single moms, and I'm telling them this all the time. Build a community. We always talk about, because I grew up as a single mom. I don't have anybody to help me with daycare. I don't have anybody help me with financials. I always say, build a support system. There are other women in your neighborhood, on your street, 2 blocks away, 5 blocks away, 2 miles away. Look for a community and begin to build, because that's where your support system is going to come from. So it takes you getting out of your own comfort level, becoming uncomfortable, and finding those people who have some of the same issues that you do, and building a support system around that.
That's awesome. And yeah, I did notice that you do a lot of work with single mothers. Why is that? Because I was a single mother. I became a single mother at 18 years of age. I raised my son by myself. That's part of my story. It's not all of it, but it's part of my story. And so I can relate, to single moms. My first single mom experience was 20-something years ago. I brought a young woman into my house. My son was 12. He's now 40. But I brought her into my home. Yes. Wow. And I learned firsthand, working with single mothers. I have a business, a nonprofit called Women Making a Difference. That's where I mentored pregnant teens and single mothers. I worked in the schools with them, putting some of them into programs where they went to school that was just for pregnant mothers and pregnant teens. So that work really came out of my own life experiences. And where can people find that or connect with that charity?
Women Making a Difference? It's now under my Designing Your Life. So Designing with Carla, that's my website now. I took that website down, and I'm kind of condensing all the work that I do together, and that's why you see so much of what I do on that page. And so after I went through my own issues, I had to stop doing some of the things that I was doing. And so Women Making a Difference is now something that I'm kind of doing on Facebook, online, and those types of arenas. Not necessarily in-person type of work now, but online type of work. But the women, I still deal with single mothers all the time. When I go and do my workshops, I'm talking to a lot of single mothers. They're everywhere. They are.
So where does someone reach you for help? Say they're a single mother and they want to reach out to you online, where do they find you?
Well, they can find me on my website, like I said, designingwithcarla.com. They can also reach out. I have a Facebook page called Single Mom, Son, Daughter, and I have a community of about 2,200 women. And every day I post out there something. I've just developed a membership site on my website. I've put all kinds of life skills sorts of information in there where moms can take advantage of the free portion or the paid portion. And that's a place where I feel like I can still do something for a single mother and on every level, and then the other things that I'm doing are coaching around single mothers, but those tend to be women who are more leaders, women who, they're no longer trying to worry about the day to day. They've established themselves a little bit better. Now they need guidance in things, to make sure they're managing things that they're trying to do in their business or as a leader in ministry, because single moms are everywhere. We're no longer just, trying to figure out struggling. Some of us are very successful in some of the things that we're doing now. So it's like I kind of graduated with that client.
And where can someone pick up your book? Maybe they're not ready to engage with you yet in your groups, but they want to read what you have to offer. Where can they pick up your book?
Right. Well, my book can be ordered on my website again, designingwithcarla.com, and my latest book, Releasing Relationship Baggage, is also on Amazon. So you can order it from Amazon as well.
Great. And you're going to send me the links so I can put them in the video here. And okay. Why should someone pick up this book?
Why? Because you're looking for change in your relationships. I believe that when we get to a place where we are feeling frustrated and tired, when you get tired enough, you'll do something about it. This book is going to appeal to a woman who's ready to release relationship baggage. The title in itself lets you know what we're going to be talking about. Letting go of the things that no longer serve purpose in your life. When you get frustrated enough, when you get tired of going around and around with the same issues, you will do something about it. And this book is going to help you. I talk about family patterns. I talk about balance in your relationships. I talk about, the relationship with yourself and the importance of it. I talk about covenant relationships. So I talk about relationships in a way that's going to help you to see yourself in the book. And all my books are pocket books. So it's a book that you can put in your purse, your handbag. It also includes a journal after each chapter because I'm a journaler, and so it's going to be a 10-book series, and each series is something that I really want to not give a woman too much, but enough information that she can begin to work on herself.
Nice. That's awesome.
Even if she never coaches with me.
That's awesome. That's so creative, and journaling is
Thank
so
you.
important because we have a million great ideas and thoughts and reflections a day, but it's lost. After you get busy with something else.
Yes.
But if you can write it down, you can come back to it, reflect on it, and build and enact, put it into action. That's awesome. You're ahead of the game.
Yes. So every book that I do in the series will have that journal in it, just so you can note, what's coming up in you. Because there's sometimes we read something and it sparks something inside of us. I want you to be able to write that down in the moment and not wait till later when it's gone, but capture that and then be able to go back and say, hey, why was I feeling this way? Because that's the way you're going to be able to release it. You got to acknowledge that it's there first.
So true. So true. Well, I like that you said your title is self-explanatory and that it tells people what they're going to get. But I have a little game we're going to play before we go, and it's called Don't Judge a Book by Its Cover. Okay? So I'm going to read you a book title, and let's do the category of self-help. And then you'll just tell me what you think it's about. We'll see if that's what it really is. Okay? Use your
Okay.
imagination. Authors.
I hope I understand what you said.
Okay. So I'm just going to read you the title of a book, and you're going to tell me what it's about.
Show.
Okay. All right.
Let's make it.
This one is called The Four Agreements.
Okay.
A practical guide to personal freedom. What is that about?
The four agreements. It's about. I read the book. It's four different things. Four different agreements you make with yourself about changing your life.
Mm-hmm. What is, like, agreements with yourself? What does that mean? I'm not sure what it means.
Agreements are things you agree to.
Yeah, okay. So it says on Amazon, it reveals a source of self-limiting beliefs. And then for a powerful code to conduct and rapidly transform our lives to freedom. So I'm going to give you that. I think that was a pretty good description. Okay. Our next book is called The Motivation Switch. What's that about?
What's it called?
The Motivation Switch.
Something you turn on in your brain to motivate yourself.
Yes. Yeah, these self-help books have in the title. They tell you exactly what it is. I love that. There you go. So yeah, exactly that. It's 77 ways to get motivated, avoid procrastination, and achieve success. So there you go. That's what that one is. Okay, and one more for the win.
Yes.
Okay, the universe doesn't give an F about you. What is that about?
What is it?
The universe doesn't give a flying F ... about you. What's that about?
The world doesn't owe you anything.
That's true. Okay, well, this is about worry, I think. It says, if you walk around every day on eggshells, nervous about making a mistake or looking stupid, then you should read this book. Stop worrying so much about what others think and start being who you're supposed to be. It's time to do something epic. So I'm going to give you that. That's good. 3 for the win.
That's good.
You won. Bragging rights. Well, thank you very much, Carla. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah.